Talk shoes. Recorded live.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be across the nation or around the world. Once again, you listen to the VMware Community's Roundtable podcast. This is podcast number 730, I believe. My name is Eric Nilsson, and with me today, I have my favorite co-host, Bob Plankers. Today
I've been promoted to favorite. Wow.
June 25th, 2025. Bob, you are the favorite. How's it going?
Well, don't tell any of your previous co-hosts, but things are going well. You may have heard we released some new stuff, VMware Cloud Foundation 9, and making all the news. I mean, we've been talking about it for 9 months or whatever. So that's
we talked about it on the show last week, Bob, that it launched. But we can always say that for the next month or two, we can just say 9 is out, right?
Yeah. Hey, if you missed it, 9 is out. And there's all this cool stuff. And gives us something to talk about for a while here. There's kind of a dead spot in what we could talk about. To be between 8 and 9, people get tired of hearing the same things, but until there's something new, So
yeah, that's right. And congratulations to all the people that came to the VMUG live stream yesterday.
Oh, that was good. Yes,
we had 4,500 people show up and over 2,500 online during the live stream yesterday. It's an all-day event.
Lots of good questions.
Yeah, lots of good questions. And if you happen to be listening to this in real time this week, I think on Friday, Thursday, they're doing an HOL second half, right? So they're going to do another live virtual event tomorrow where they've got HOL sessions, some of the new HOL 9 labs going to be out. And I think they're going to have places you can go with an instructor or somebody there to help you do the lab. So
yep. It's probably very much like the I almost called it VMworld, the VMware Explore instructor-led labs. I'm guessing they're going to do some online version of that.
Yeah, some online version of that. So excited about that. And then William Lamb published a blog on the Nook, or the machine that runs 9, that he's able to run 9 on, but with a caveat that it's part 9, it's not the whole 9.
You probably can't do automation. The automation appliance requires 24 CPUs, vCPUs, and so
right,
that gets tricky.
And it was less about the CPU and more about just memory, to get the amount of memory that you need, 300 or 400 gig. I think the automation suite takes 200 gig of memory, right, on its own, right? And you just couldn't get VCF running with it all on one Nook. So it's really a 2 Nook deploy if you want to do the full stack with automation. So, but his blog,
you don't have to, So
yeah. And now that his blog is out, go to Amazon and buy that. Good luck with that, right? Yeah. In fact, that the 2 Ion order, the order is canceled, right? So it's like, now I got to go deal with that. So here we go. So good news there. On the show today, we're going to be talking about automation, right? We have Jatin, I don't even want to try.
Jatin
Pirohit and Angle Petro, right? Both of them product management from VCP, working on the automation, the APIs. We're going to be talking about PowerCLI, performance and improvements, the unified SDK in VCF 9. This is one of the big improvements that I see in VCF 9 is the automation, unification. So we got them on the show to talk to them. But before we do that, any other news, Bob? Let's see. We talked about the event yesterday. I think that was the big thing. Explorer, Reg is still open. Content is still live. So I know that they've been sending out some more invites for speakers, so that's going on. Schedule builder, I want to say, is July 15th. So that's
July 15th. That's what I know about it as well. Yep. They've got the agendas and stuff. You can see the content catalog here. Maybe I can get into it here. Yeah, the content catalog is live and is getting more and more filled in more and more. You can search for people too. This Plankers guy has got a bunch of sessions, that sort of thing. I was going to mention that the People's Choice Award is still live as well. If you just search on the web for VMware People's Choice voting or whatever, then this is still live for, I think, another day or two here. And so you can go through and vote for. These are things that whoever wins in these categories will be invited to speak And so there's a lot of community stuff here. There's some VMware or Broadcom employees as well, but it's definitely worth. Takes you 2 minutes, so definitely encourage people to do that.
Looking forward to that. I know that the V Rockstar guys reached out. They're looking to do a party at Explore in Vegas, so we'll see if that turns out. We sponsored one in Barcelona last year, the last year that Barcelona ran, and that was a lot of fun. I think like 300 or 400 people showed up to that one. They're trying to kick off another one. If you're interested in sponsorship packages, it's kind of a community event. They're talking to the underground people as well, so that's happening. So pay attention to that. So should be some good fun at the show this year. Looking forward to it, and a little bit more community activity. The last couple of years a little bit quieter, right? As all the vendors kind of got their
uncertainty is what it is, but people are starting to figure out where they stand and all this stuff. And it's good. We're seeing a lot of, the news of our demise is greatly exaggerated, to quote Mark Twain. We're still alive and kicking. We've got a very strong community. And the people that are going to be there, the people last year that were at the conference were wonderful, and it was a good opportunity to have better conversations and answer questions and things. And so I'm looking forward to that again this year.
Yeah, me too. All right, well, let's get on with the show. Jatin, we normally will ask you guys, because we're a community podcast, just tell us a little bit about yourself. Do like a 2-minute, 3-minute elevator pitch of like, what's your career arc look like? How did you start working at VMware, and how long have you been here, and what did you do before you got here? And then Angel, we'll go to you next after that.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Engel, for hosting this one. I think this is my second time on the community podcast. I love speaking with you guys, especially Bob. We do a lot of chit chatter on our Google chat on various stuff, and here we are speaking about API, SDK, and PowerCLI. We will get there, but about me, I have 10 years of experience working with pretty much all the VMware technologies. I was a customer who used to work on core vSphere stack, then moved into the technical marketing role at vSphere tech marketing team. And Bob was a great co-worker.
Yeah, you and I were direct co-workers for quite some time there.
Yeah,
COVID years. Yeah,
exactly. So. And then did plenty of reshuffle, but long story short, I'm here because I love the VMware technology. What I do, I basically work on partner solutions, hyperscalers. Along with that, I also work on something called Holodeck and vSphere, the VCF experience program, which is like our go-to-market program. Excellent program if you are watching this show and if you happen to be a VMware customer, and if you have not attended the experience day, please reach out to your contact person at VMware, and we will get you to the experience program. It is really a nice way to get a glimpse of what is VCF and how to get started with VCF. But apart from that, one of the major key role, and especially the role that led up to VCF 9, is to help Engel and team to communicate our API, SDK, and PowerCLI story. I always say that a tech marketer is as good as the product. If you have a good product in place, our job becomes much easier to communicate its value proposition and place that particular product at the right stage. So Engel is doing all the hard work along with the engineering. I'm just helping him out to get out the message in the community. And yeah, we are a team of two, I would say, who is looking to revive our API, SDK, and PowerCLI story. So here we are.
Yeah, well, you've got a lot of fans too, and you've got some history with VMUGs too, don't you? You were a leader of a VMUG chapter, weren't you? So
how can I forget that? Yeah, I love VMUGs. It's like my constant place where I hang out with my coworkers, my peers. I used to be a customer leader, and truth to be told, I visited VMware Palo Alto office even before joining VMware, and that as in the capacity as a VMUG leader. So a great platform. I encourage everyone to be participating in those VMUG forums. I'm doing a lot of presentations nowadays, but my first ever presentation was at a VMUG forum, and that too as a customer, VMware customer. So a great platform for everyone. It's not just about your career progression. I have met so many people whom I am friends now, and that's a great way to be in the right community. So yeah, a big shout out to VMUG as well. I can't forget that.
So what about you, Angel?
Okay, I'm Angel, and my previous experience, my background is mostly on the QA field. I was a quality assurance engineer, quality assurance manager, tech lead. So I used to test, all the APIs, microservices that we built back in the days. And before many years, I have to use VMs because I have to test particular Windows that we don't have installed on a machine. So I have to set up the environment and all this stuff. This is how I understood about the VMware at all. And then later in my career, I just think about a new opportunity because in the QA field, I was around maybe 10 plus years, 15 years as a QA lead, QA manager. And I have a chance to meet with many customers. So I've been on the shoes of, okay, I think that as a QA, I'm doing a good job. But in the end, when you go to the customer, you understand what actually means a good job and how they what for them means the confidence that the quality you're providing is good enough to be released on production, all this stuff. So then I look at the other side of the coin, or the customer side of the coin. So I like it, and at some point, before 3 years and something, I decided that it's time to switch my career path. I really like the opportunity to become a product manager. And back in the days, there is open position in VMware in Sofia, so I put my CV there and I started the show. So then they choose me. I stepped in, and my first meeting was, man, this is the architect of vCenter. This is the one of the managers of vCenter. This is the technical staff, solution engineers that are doing all the APIs and SDKs. Fix that. The story is broken. We need to fix for vSphere. Then it becomes growing. Then VCF came to the radar. So now I'm trying to fix the overall APIs and SDK and PowerCLI story across the board. And I think next couple of minutes, we are going to share with Jatin a lot of improvements, a lot of milestones, huge milestones that we achieved over the year.
Yeah, that's the big question, the elephant in the room, as it were. So what's new? A new product release. You folks always have a new version of PowerCLI to go along with it. But there's so much other stuff going on too. You guys want to give us a summary, a little summary of this? It's not just a new PowerCLI 13. It's got a different name now. Here, I'll look that up too. It's now VCF PowerCLI, and not just VMware PowerCLI. So there'll be a little confusion there, I'm sure, but people will get through it. But what else? There's all kinds of other stuff that you're doing, and to what you were saying, you look at this stuff, and there's all of the stuff that customers see, but there's all the stuff below the surface. It's an iceberg, and we just see the tip of the iceberg there. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yep, of course. Jatin, maybe I can share kind of an overview, and if you need, or if you want, you can jump on with some of the details across.
Go ahead.
Yep. Go ahead. Let's start because you spoke about the confusion we built and we bring with the renaming of the VMware PowerCLI. Why we did that? Because we want to align fully our product, our PowerCLI PowerShell product, with the VCF releases and the VCF release numbers. Back in the days, long time ago, the VMware PowerCLI has already released version 9.0. So we cannot continue with the same name. We cannot,
Well, we just did that with ESX. We're calling it ESX again and not ESXi. No problem. We can reuse numbers and names. Nah, I kid.
Yeah, but I decided that it's better really to start as a blank page.
Having it all the same number is so much nicer,
Yep. So we rename it. We put the VCF in front. We remove the VMware, and then this is our reset. We can start with 9.0. It's only naming here, and it's only the the big module. Inside, everything is the same. So the same modules. We have some, we bring some kind of a migration scenario for our customers, because we rely on them to install the old modules and install the new one. But once they did that, everything will work smoothly. We didn't change the commandlets. We didn't change the module names. We didn't change the versioning even on the module name. So we keep this consistent. So this backwards compatibility was kept. We know that we need to lower the cost on our customers. This one thing. The other thing is, vSphere, with all these SOAP APIs, we finally have kind of a REST standard for those SOAP APIs. And this is for all public SOAP APIs. It's not only for subset of them. So now we have a full set of APIs that are SOAP, covered with the new protocol, VI-JSON protocol, we call it. We start this journey in vSphere 8 update 1. We continue and we finish it now with VCF 9.0. So all the vCenter and all the vSun SOAP APIs now have this VI-JSON new protocol that allows us actually to release an OpenAPI schema, OpenAPI 3.0 definitions for our APIs. And, back in the days when I joined, I was thinking about, why not rewriting the SOAP APIs? Why just rewrite them, migrate them to REST, and that's it? And the answer is obvious. Everybody is using them. So this means a huge pain on our customers. This means a lot of migration. So we need to drop this idea. That's why we introduced this VI-JSON protocol, that it's a REST-like interface. Again, it's the same API behind the scene. It's the same huge monolith Vim25 and all the other SOAP APIs plus vSun. But it allows customers to use Postman, for example, because we have OpenAPI definitions. And these modern REST tools. And not only this, we bind all together a lot of SDKs that today exists in a common VCF SDK. And this means that libraries like PyVMomi, like vSphere Automation, like vSun Python SDK, they are no longer standalone SDKs. They're bind together in the VCF Python SDK, and the same goes for the Java. And on top, we decided that Python and Java, this is our first class supported bindings. We cannot cover all the spectrum of programming languages, but what we see is that majority of our customers are using Python and Java. So let's concentrate, let's give them a first class bindings. So we ensure that those programming languages are very well covered.
Well, and with good REST APIs, as you've been talking about, and standardized ones, all the rest of the languages can call an API, and that's, so I think you've made a good choice there. I'm sorry, you were starting to say something to continue on.
Yeah, just as an addition, just to because I spoke about the existing libraries, we keep them. They're backwards compatible. We do not break them. We will not ask customers to rewrite everything. We just combine them and package them and deliver them through a consistent channels of distribution. And on top, we have some VCF components like SDDC Manager, like VCF Installer, brand new VCF Installer, which they don't have SDKs before VCF 9.0. So we build for those products, for those components, we build Python and Java bindings. We add as a part of this, packaging exercise with the VCF Common SDK. And we envision, of course, the future to onboard all the existing and all the components that doesn't have Python and Java bindings to the common VCF SDK. And this is not everything. There is one big surprise: the samples. You know how painful is the samples. We have samples all over the places, and nobody knows if they are working at all. This was the case before.
Yeah.
Now we grab them together, we refactor them, we tested them, and we put them into single repository for Python and single repository for Java, and we are shipping those samples. So we sign up this kind of a contract between us and the customers. These are the samples. We tested them. They're working with 9.0. Use it.
Nice. That's really cool because I'm not the greatest programmer on earth. I maintain a library of code samples myself as part of the security configuration guides. And, and so when there's a new feature, when something changes, I look to your code samples. And yeah, exactly what you said. When I'm already lost, A code sample that's only half working doesn't really help a lot. In fact, I end up getting farther afield than I should be, and so I think that's terrific that you folks are doing that, helping people succeed, helping them have a good experience when they're doing this stuff. I think that leads to more adoption of this sort of thing. So very cool.
So I have a question on this. So Engel, the bundling up of these samples, Bob Flash Sample Exchange on the page. But
I was going to ask if that's the right thing or
right place, or where are you bundling these up? How are they being delivered to customers?
Okay, great question. It's not in the sample exchange.
Oh, okay. I'll
First,
get out of here then.
Can you go to the developer portal? Yep. There is something new that here you're on this page, you see it's the developer center. And inside this section, we put, I call them getting started pages, something that will navigate our customers. And this is the VCF PowerCLI. Even before VCF 9.0, we have such page. But if you go back, you see that we add also the Python and Java. So if you click Python, we have two channels of distribution for our bindings and for our sample codes. One is if you click on download now, this is a developer portal where we are hosting the Python bindings in a zip file. And inside this zip file, we have also the samples codes. So you can download.
It's bundled. Yeah. It's part of the product itself. Okay. Exactly. Oh, that's really cool, because then you can version it, you can maintain it right together. That makes a lot of sense.
Exactly. Why we did that is because we received kind of a feedback from our customers, especially the finance sector. They said, guys, we are not able to download anything from GitHub. So open source repositories, PyP, Maven, all this is forbidden for us. So this is our channel for such kind of customers through the developer.broadcom.com. The other channel is PyP is one place where you can put the bindings, but there is no such thing in PyP for sharing the samples. So we build a GitHub repositories. If you go back again to the getting started page of Python,
I will do that.
Yep. On the right side,
And Bob, just for the people that are listening and not watching the YouTube stream,
I'm sorry.
What is the URL that you're?
We're at developer.broadcom.com.
Okay, so on the developer portal now, they've added a directory of these things, but then the binaries of the bits themselves actually come from the product, right? The product images themselves.
Yep. Yeah. So developer.broadcom.com is taken over for developer.vmware.com. A lot of our URLs have changed like that. Ports.vmware.com is now ports.broadcom.com, things like that. But yeah, and so off to the right, there's a getting started in related links. There's getting started links. There's download now, all that sort of stuff. So
if you go down, you'll see the samples repository on this list on the right side.
Okay. Oh.
So
do you want me back at developer.broadcom.com, or this seems to be the tech? Okay.
Yeah, and if you look on the right side,
examples repository is
example repository. This is a new repository that we built because not all of our customers are forbidden to use samples from GitHub repository, so they can configure their CID pipeline, so they can download it from here directly. So that's why we have this channel of distribution as well for the sample codes.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Which is most important.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, which is most important, I want just to add here, is that here we have a kind of a way for receiving a feedback. So imagine you are a vSAN customer using some of the samples. It's working perfectly, but you have a use case that we don't have covered with sample code. So you can come here, raise an issue or discussion here on the GitHub repository. We can take it and we can work with the teams to provide this coverage as well.
That's really cool. Yeah, well, and you're meeting customers where they're at. I've actually discovered some of what you're noting as well, that certain sectors can or can't do things, like, well, we can't go to GitHub. We have to get it from a URL that ends in vmware.com or broadcom.com or something like that. Okay, fine. Or we can't use a bit.ly redirector. Well, okay. Like, they're not all evil, guys, but whatever, but having lots of different options here. And then, it looks like somebody opened an issue with you yesterday. So, and so you're saying that if people have issues, they can file one, create a new issue here, and then you'll add it as part of the. It's a valid way of reporting a problem with the software.
Yes, this is the one of the ways. The other ways, if you are part of the support program, you can raise such kind of problems through the support channel. So, yeah,
so like people have done for years, you know. So,
yep.
Very cool. Excellent.
So if we're talking new things, we talked about the Python and Java API bindings and with the work you've done there, right? And that's new. We've got developers, developer.broadcom.com, where you've added new samples and a whole website to help you consume the samples, and you can either go grab them there, or you can go to your product and go get them inside the product. So now all the people that are locked out of downloading things will get that, which is great. So those are two major VCF 9 kind of deliverables that are coming. I get those. Those make sense. Any others that you would check off the box of things in VCF 9 that you're like, any kind of functionality that you go, wow, this is going to really help people? Like, do you have your top few? And I don't know if this is a Jotin question or an Angle question, but I'll go to the next thing, which is what's new in the APIs that I get excited about if I were writing some code.
Okay, I cannot one here. When I joined, my first request, speaking with a customer, was why vSphere doesn't have global authorization API. So I can create a role, I can assign permission, I can do everything through the user interface, but there is no public API. So we finally managed to do that. 9.0, it's available. We have a public REST API.
Awesome.
Yep. We have bindings. We have commandlets. So we have all of this. This is one really important, I would say, milestone that we achieved this API publicly available. Another story around the OpenAPI, we missed it.
Let me stop you there. So global public API for what?
Authorization. For
authorization.
Roles,
permissions. Oh my goodness. People can easily automate their roles and permissions. I have been wanting this. If you could build yourself a time machine and take yourself back about 15 years, I could really use this when I was a customer. So,
yep.
But I'm glad it's here.
And I want to connect the dots. Before that, in vSphere 8 update 1, if I recall it correctly, we released something that we call a privilege recorder. Yeah. So you can run a script, and this privilege recorder public API will provide you with all the roles and permissions that you have to assign, so the script to be executed. So imagine you have this privilege recorder. It's also available through PowerCLI, through the SDK, and as a public interface. You have that available, and then you have the API that actually will allow you in a programmatical way to assign these roles and permissions and privileges.
That's awesome.
This story is complete, I would say.
Woohoo! Goal achieved. Mission accomplished.
Yep. So, OpenAPI.
OpenAPI, and I don't know how many people. I just want to detour for a second. I don't know how many people actually have seen or know about things like the API Explorer and the Developer Center inside of vCenter itself. All of these APIs that are here, and you can peruse them. You can call them right from in here. Maybe you get yourself a test environment or something like that before you go messing around with a lot of these things. But the ability to do this stuff, and even code capture. I think this is a really unsung hero of a lot of scripting. Where you want to know how to do something, or you want to get started scripting it. You can just go in and here, this is just one of my test environments. If I wanted to, I could start the recording here, and then I can just do something create a new virtual machine. We'll name the virtual machine Jetin, and we'll put it in a cluster, that sort of thing, and whatever. I'll just go all the way through here to finish it. And then what I can do is I can stop the recording, and holy buckets, it's got a script with all of this stuff in it. It's a little verbose here. You maybe don't need all of this stuff sometimes, but it gets you a sense of, it's another way to help, like your examples, another way that people can see what the deal is. And you can pick which language too. We've got JavaScript, Python. So if I want it in Python, well, there I go. So I don't know, but yeah, there's a lot of tools here for the people that are interested in this stuff. It looks really daunting, but it's not,
So when we talk API, I'm still getting back to what's new, right? OpenAPI. For some of us that don't know OpenAPI, like what is OpenAPI? Like when you talk OpenAPI, what does that mean?
Maybe Jatin can answer this
question.
Do you want
to? Okay. Yep. Excellent. Thank you. That was a great rundown. And I was just listening it was just cool to listen all of you and learn a few things from you as well. So that was great. So see, the OpenAPI, I think it is one of the most important document that any developer wants if they are getting started with any of these APIs. What Bob has shown just now, before the code capture in the Developer Center, we had the set of APIs that were listed under Developer Center. Those are the REST APIs. You will be surprised that nobody generate those documentation manually. It's all generated automatically. If you have a new API tomorrow, you will see that particular API listed in the Developer Center. How do we do that? We do that with a documentation called OpenAPI. It's a documentation which humans can also read. It's a YAML and simple JSON file, and it can also be read by any programming language that exists in the world. One of the very simple use cases, let's say if you want to get started with any of these API, just download the OpenAPI specification, upload this in, let's say, Postman. Postman will create all the API endpoints and all the bindings for you. And through that, you can understand what is the input that I should give to this particular API, what kind of output I may expect out of this particular API, what are the response codes that I can work with, and what could be my data structure that I will be working while doing input and output operation. So it is simply an API documentation, but it is written in YAML and JSON file. And then you can use it with different tools to generate the documentation,
So it's kind of like a way that Visual Studio could read in that as well, and then all of a sudden, while I'm coding, it's extending out what functions I need, what parameters I need for each call, because you've got an OpenAPI standard that you've pulled into your tool. Exactly. All right. And we didn't have that in the past. Then there was no OpenAPI standard for all the VMware Python, interfaces in Java.
The another reference point to understand what is an OpenAPI is if any of our community member have heard about this thing called Swagger, the Swagger UI, which used to be a kind of a interface where you will see the API, you will have an option to interact with that API. That Swagger was basically the OpenAPI version 1 and version 2. It has been now rebranded to OpenAPI v3, which everybody likes to follow. But here's a very important use case that I would like to showcase. Engel talked about the SDK, and he talked about providing these SDKs in two language binding, which is Python and Java. It is VMware, it is us who is actually building those SDKs for our customer. But then we also have another problem statement where not all of our customers use Python and Java programming languages. You might have somebody like me who loves .NET and who will say, okay, VMware doesn't provide a .NET SDK. How do I work with these APIs? The answer to that problem is OpenAPI specification. I can upload this OpenAPI specification to tool something like OpenAPI generator. It will take that particular specification and automatically build a working client-side SDK for .NET for any preferred programming language that you want. And trust me, I have shared this particular demo in yesterday's Tech Tuesday call, and the responses were phenomenal. I just did a 3-step work. I took the API specification, uploaded to OpenAPI generator. It specified that I need a C#, which is one of the programming language in .NET. I need a client-side SDK for C#, hit generate, within few minutes, it gave me a fully functional client-side SDK, just like what we publish for VCF SDK in Python and Java. It published a similar kind of SDK for .NET C#. So that's kind of one of the powerful use case that customers can leverage with the OpenAPI specification. But another important aspect from our point of view, our APIs are diverse. We have NSX APIs, we have VCF automation API, operations API, and by the way, what Bob was showing in the code capture, by the way, those are the SOAP API Explorer that Bob was basically
the older one, yeah,
the older one, right?
Yeah.
So if you have this kind of environment, and this is not by design. This is our history, right? We have these different products which are delivering compute, network, storage services. And to be very honest, this is how a public cloud also looks like. If you go to a public cloud, if you select any of their services, they also have different API endpoints for different services. So nothing new for us as well. It's not like, it is only us who have this diverse set of API. Everyone has that. But the important thing was every product was building its own API specification. Some were following the OpenAPI, some were not. And then developers who work with our stack were saying, your APIs are inconsistent, basically. I can't follow the same pattern to do my work. And that is what I think we have
that's
faced.
What I was going to ask. I was going to actually ask that. You answered one of the things that was like, in VCF 9, the whole thing is ease of use and consolidation and bring it all together. I was just wondering if there was that where we had different standards, behaviors in the APIs across the different products, because different project teams had different standards for building the interface.
Anytime you have different teams,
clean any of that up.
Yeah. No, exactly. And I'll go back to a step back. See, if you look at the REST API, right? REST APIs are basically an architectural style rather than a protocol. If we go into specifics, a protocol is a well-defined standard. For example, SOAP itself is a protocol, even though it's an API, but itself is in protocol, which has to follow a specific standard across the board. Whereas it comes to the REST APIs are flexible. It's like, I say that you should design your APIs in this way. That's the best way. But it is up to the Bob who may pick 3 or 4 ideas, what I recommend, but might not pick some other ideas because he feels like my API doesn't need those kind of things. And that's where the inconsistency actually comes into the picture. So on one hand, it gives us the ability to do an agile development and deliver these APIs at a faster pace. But then every team might have their own standards, and that's what we are trying to fix. We are setting this a standard that everyone has to follow now, OpenAPI v3 version, and all of our products and all of our APIs should spit out an OpenAPI v3 specification. So I think that is very important aspect. I think Engel wants to come in and highlight some of those aspects as well.
Just to share with our customers and with you folks, we are that close to finish that one, because only few of the components across VCF are yet not on the OpenAPI 3.0 standard that we are trying to achieve. It's NSX and few other components, but we are actively working. The team, I'll just give you some backgrounds from the, inside the kitchen, is that NSX is actively working. So soon OpenAPI 3.0 is coming even for NSX. So we are pretty much aligned across the whole VCF on that.
Well, I've likened these APIs in the past. I've compared them to cities and how cities develop. You've got different neighborhoods that have different design styles and all that stuff. And then eventually they grow together. And then you've got some central government that says, well, you need streets and all your streets need curbs and they all need to have the same lines. And, I see that same thing here with VCF, especially. VCF, we're all becoming one. Before you could see the seams that were the different org structures. It's one org structure now, so we can have some standards. So, but no, I think the work you folks are doing is absolutely terrific and absolutely needed as well. So not only just for customers, but heck, it's good for us too inside of Broadcom. So,
yep, it's true.
So I was on the call yesterday and listening, and somebody mentioned the beta program, right? Like that they had a 9 beta program that ran for some number of months. Did you guys get anybody building any kind of components to 9 and give you feedback during the beta programs themselves? I'm just wondering, whenever new APIs come out and new software comes out, I usually wait like a year or two before I try to write code to an API. And I'm just wondering whether or not how solid do you feel these things are? Did they get a lot of testing, etc.?
Okay, about the testing, maybe I'll leave Jatin to share. But why I'm so confident that what we are doing is the right thing is, first of all the changes that we are doing, they are customer feedbacks. It's not something that we build by our own. I met with hundreds of customers past 3 years, and I just collect all this data from them, and there is a lot of asks why you don't have a first class support for Python bindings across all the components. Why you don't have OpenAPI schema? Because I'm a .NET developer and you don't have .NET SDK. So what I'm doing? The others are asking, okay, PowerShell is good, but it's not complete. There are missing modules. We need ops, we need VRA, we need the other components that you are missing them. So then we start executing. And the good thing is that we have so many customers. We built a lot of trust between each other, and they sign NDAs and all these things. So I was able to provide them with the early, kind of demonstrations, kind of sessions where they give us the feedback. And this makes me confident that we're building the right thing. About the testing, we tested a lot. We joined the effort. Like the SDK itself, it's not built by one team. The common VCF SDK, there is a core VCF SDK team that is building and driving all these things, but there are also contribution from other teams, like the vSAN fully contribute and fully support us to take the vSAN Python, vSAN Java libraries, put them together in the PyVMommy and the management SDK, and then release it together. So we joined the effort. We tested a lot. We built a lot of testing pipelines. And like you said, beta, yes, I shared many of those binaries before months with some of our partners. We have these kind of contracts, early access, early adopters, and all this stuff. And to be honest, so far, we don't have any negative feedback.
Nice.
Either everything runs smooth or it's not working at all. Yeah. This is the picture.
Well, and it's so not having any negative feedback. There's a couple of things that could be happening. I mean, one, you're solving their problems, which is great, and that's the ideal thing. But two, that also could mean that nobody's using it, But I don't think that's the case, because you're starting to get feedback. One, the stuff is so new at this point, and two, you're starting to get feedback. You've got an issue as of yesterday or whatever. That means there's people out there looking at this, and I think that's a terrific sign.
I don't believe anything these guys say, but that's okay, because you can go to developer.broadcom.com and you can go.
You don't have to believe it. You can go check it out yourself,
and then you can comment on it, right? And so I think that's the truth. Is whenever any new API comes out, there's going to be bugs. There's going to be things that because 99% of the code because you got it compatible to the old code. Everybody's still using old code, and then people rewrite projects once in a while, and then new code gets interjected, and then you'll find some bugs. Go report them on the site, and they'll get them fixed.
I don't know. I think these guys are. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Angel.
I just want to share that we are trying to build kind of transparency, and this is something that we started now. By transparency, what I mean, we broke the Java world. When we built this new VCF SDK, we upgrade the third-party libraries. Why? Because the old ones, the old versions that we were using before, they have security breaches. So we need to move away. And we migrated and we moved from Java 8 as a minimum requirement to Java 11. And all the third-party libraries that are coming with Java 11 and all this stuff. And we know that we are affecting our customers. But what we did, we write a comprehensive migration guide. Guys, you have to do that, and that. So you migrated to the VCF Java SDK. And this is fully transparent. And you know what? we did something else that is one way that for me it's a huge milestone. It was an easy step internally. I mean, we delivered it quite easy, but it is a huge milestone that we achieved. It's a change walk. As a part of the release notes, we have something that we call VCF API change walk. So if you are a customer using our APIs, you can go there, you can see it, and you'll see a table with all the changes, all the deleted, all the updated, all the changed, or all new APIs that are coming with VCF 9.0. And when you click on it, you'll be redirected to the developer portal, to the particular specific API, and you'll see what we introduced there. And it's across whole VCF. It's not only for one component or the other, it's for all.
Nice.
That's good. And, I'm just giving you a hard time because I've written code many years, and, I know what it's like where deprecated. And so, I'm just smiling a little bit, but it's great. It's great. And it's good that we have a community place that you can go engage with people to learn the new stuff. So I like it. Shatan, I think you're going to talk, so we'll let you chime in here.
Yeah. No, just on the customer feedback, especially the OpenAPI story. It is actually one of the customer who reached out to us and said that my entire stack is actually the TypeScript and JavaScript. I don't use Python. I don't use Java. Give me some way to integrate VCF into my stack. I'm not sure whether I can name them, but they're one of the big social media platforms. You guys can figure it out. We actually worked with them, given them the OpenAPI spec, did some testing, and we come out on the winning side. And I can proudly say that we did this for one of the customer. And then we figured out that the same problem we have with other customers as well. So why not we reach out to them way before then, they call us and say, we have a problem here. So I would say, I think from our point of view, even before VCF 9, and actually the journey actually started way before 9 also. Some of the OpenAPI specs are there since 8 update 1. It's just that we didn't communicate it the way we are communicating now, because it was just the edge use cases that we were receiving. And now we feel that it is something of an importance which we should communicate to everyone. But I can tell you, at least 5-6 customers that me and Engel know personally, we have worked with them and we have shipped the open APIs. They are really happy about it. And then some of the feedback were very simple. I'll give you a very classic example. To work on a VCF, you need to work on vSphere and you need to work on vSAN, because vSAN is one of the more important component for storage. Prior to VCF 9.0, you will install vSphere SDK using PyP, which is PyVMomi, and that's basically an online installation. The vSAN story goes crazy. You have to download a zip file. You have to follow probably 2 or 3 page installation guide that we recommend. And then you finally manage to install a vSAN SDK. And customers were literally saying, look, this is how I'm doing the SDK. Guys, please do help us out here. And now with the 9.0, the experience is very simple. You just run single command pip install VCF SDK. Or if you are using Java, you just have to add the Maven artifact. All the libraries will be installed automatically without any issue. I'm just highlighting some key, top points. Think about the authentication.
Yeah.
If I tell you about that, to build a VM, you need to authenticate with, let's say, this API, and to build, let's say, or work with vSAN storage, you have to authenticate with this API. This is complicated. This is literally a cluttered developer experience that I say. We have fixed those things. So to begin with, all the vSphere and vSAN APIs can authenticate seamlessly without any authentication overhead. And in the upcoming releases, we will have a unified authentication across all our API endpoints.
Oh,
so
really? Nice.
That's kind of a big thing that we are actually working on. So
it's actually interesting because when I was doing a ChatGPT training last year at Explore doing PowerShell, I would tell people that actually nowadays I spend more time on install and setup than I do actually writing the code. Right, like, because with an AI now, the AI can pretty much write a lot of code for you, right? And you're just tweaking code, right? But the setup still, I spend more time setup than I do the writing the code. So I understand exactly, especially when you're talking about multiple API sets, right? And oh my God, if you're not online, good luck trying to get things installed. Like if you're air gapped and you have to go pull all these APIs and run through, like literally you could be days later still trying to get your what I call the common development environment. That's what I like. I call CDE. We used to use the term CDE, CDE, common development environment, where everybody could write the same code and get the same results, right? And so that's great. One install process.
Yeah, no, that's really important. And getting people up to speed, setting these things up it turns a lot, in the past has turned a lot of people off to it, frankly, and I see that too with the security configuration guide examples. I tell people it's really easy to do this stuff. We've been getting a lot of questions lately about KMS. How can I tell our KMS has got a billion keys in it and we don't have a billion VMs? How can I tell which keys can be deleted? All that stuff is available in the APIs. It can all be called through PowerShell and PowerCLI. Well, that's tricky. I'm not a developer. Well, and I'm like, guys, like it's a lot easier. Well, I tried it back with vSphere 5.5 or whatever, and it was painful back then, and I'm not going to do it now. And so I'm really glad to hear that there's a lot of focus on the experience here. And I guess coming from a guy that was a customer and a guy that was a QA engineer for a long time, this is to be expected. You guys see the customer sides of these things, and I think that's absolutely terrific. And the fact that you're taking all this feedback and collecting all this feedback, so it's really important.
All right, so we're coming up. We got 8 minutes left from a standpoint of podcasting for an hour here. So as we transition, I'd like to ask each of you, Angle, what gets you excited? Or do you have an Explore session? Are you gonna make your way to Vegas? And what gets you excited for the rest of the year?
Okay, yes, I have a pass and I'm traveling to Vegas. We have a couple of sessions. One of them is exactly the same topic where I'm going to share what we achieved for 9.0 and of course what is coming up next. Of course, we have a common session Jetin has for the SDKs where we are going to show a kind of how the Python Java code, how it's working, how we can create, how we can use samples and all this stuff. So Explore is coming, but we are not stopping with 9.0. We are continuing. We are developing. We are cooking the next version. So we are working to continue all this journey to be complete, to have more components of VCF onboarded, which is really, really important for us to have the full coverage. PowerShell, we want to continue onboarding new modules, new commandlets for all the VCF components and add-ons. So this continue work on that direction. Again, I mentioned a couple of the VCF components are still not OpenAPI, so we are focusing on delivering. Something really important that we missed out, by the way, with Jetin to mention, it was, VCF PowerCLI, the new version, we boost the performance of this product with more than 50, in some cases 70%. So if you before wrote the modules for a minute or two, now you're doing it by less than 20 seconds. So now we're focusing with the PowerCLI team how to boost even further, how to make it much more performant, much more consistent, and have the whole portfolio covered. And this is the work we're doing, and I'm sure that we cannot achieve it till the end of the year, but we continue doing and adding more and more value for our customers.
Well, and people don't think about that, but for a lot of big implementations, we've got some customers that are really large. And so in my test environment, the performance of something iterating on 10 VMs, who cares, but when they have 150,000 VMs, that, saving a 50% performance improvement is amazing for them, and then all the customers in between, the 10,000 VM customers and that all see that all their scripts run faster. They can check things faster. No, that's super cool.
Yep. And again, this was driven by customer feedback. We have a meeting with one US company. They said, guys, we are moving slowly from PowerShell to PyVMomi because of the performance issues we are hitting with the modules, with the wall time, with the execution of the commandlets. And we think about it, okay, we have a rich number of commandlets, rich coverage, and at the end, the performance is the thing that, pushing people to work, to see some other aspects and to find some other solutions. So let's fix it.
Very cool.
Very cool. Jatin, we'll do the same for you. What excites you for the rest of 2025? Do you get to go to Explore, etc.?
Yes, I'm traveling to Explore. Happy to meet Angle, Bob, you, and plenty of my friends. That's what I love about Explore. The another thing is, last 2 quarters I have been busy with developing Holodeck along with my excellent team. So we have a team of 6 who work on this project called Holodeck. And the good news is today only we cut out a branch for GA release. So hopefully in a week or so you will hear about the new Holodeck 9.0 coming out of us. We have a session on Holodeck at Explore as well, and that is what I'm really excited about it. There is more and more work that we also need from tech marketing side to continue to build on the story that we have on our API, SDK, and PowerCLI. So we'll closely work with the product team engineering to get those content out, and exciting times, I would say. Happy to be here, and that's really exciting.
Yeah, you both have some sessions. I've been kind of bringing them up on the video feed here. You can just search for these guys' names in the session catalog, and they've got stuff all about the topics that we've been talking about here. So yeah, a lot of interesting stuff. And and turns out these guys, this is another thing for Explore too. If you've got questions, you want to meet them, go up after the session and shake their hand. Tell them that this work is wonderful, that sort of thing. Give them your feedback. This is a great opportunity. You've got them right in front of you. There's a great opportunity to meet them. Turns out these guys, the presenters at Explore, we all put our pants on the same way you do, which is over our head, of course. But we're humans too. We're just and without feedback, it's we sometimes don't know what to build if we don't have feedback.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yep.
All right. Well, we've got 3 minutes left. We do live stream on youtube.com/vbarbecue. Go give us a like and follow. We do clips there now. We've got the pages organized. We've got all things in order. The playlists are updated. So if you haven't been over there, you go check it out. We've got a nice new GUI and clips and everything ordered on playlists. So go check that out. At the same time, because we do vBarbecue, we'll ask our guests whether they like barbecue, or do we have any kind of barbecue report going today, Bob?
I don't know that we have a barbecue report, but I would be interested if these guys are going to roast something over an open fire, like meat, vegetables, whatever, what would you choose? If you're hungry right now and you've got a fire right there, what's your favorite thing? Why don't you go first, Jed?
So I'm a vegetarian. The only thing I can cook up is probably potatoes, some paneer, if you know this term. It's kind of a cheese which is very specific to this region, this part of the world, India. So that is what I love the most.
Hey, Jet, and something's up with your audio. You're really low.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, there. That's much better. Can you start over? So you're roasting stuff over an open flame. Let's hear it.
Yeah. I would go some paneer, which is kind of an cheese. It's very famous in India. I'm a vegetarian, so I can't go for meat and all those cool things.
We'll take care of that part for you.
So, that is what I will go for. And mind you, it's 32 degrees Celsius over here. So not really a pleasant weather to do an open barbecue, probably. So.
Well.
So yeah.
It's very cool. Yeah, actually, the vegetarian options, that's actually something I've always dreamed of coming and visiting you. And and something with cheese in it. Oh, that does sound good. So, Angle,
when I heard vegetarians, Jatin lost me. We are good friends. But yeah, when you talk about barbecue, this beef, this ribs, all this stuff.
Yeah. So what's your favorite? What do they have in Bulgaria that's that you like that maybe is a little different that we should hear about?
No, the barbecue here is the same like in the USA. So
okay.
Yeah, so the usual stuff, ribs and beefs and all this stuff. We have something that we call it's built on meat, and it's kind of a kebabche, we call it.
Okay.
But compared to the beef and to the ribs, we cannot compare that.
All right. Well, we're at the top of the hour, guys. Thanks a lot for all the hard work you do. Thanks for taking our lunchtime and taking us through VCF 9, all the APIs.
Making me hungry here. Yeah.
Yeah, great to hear it. Thanks for the work. Thanks for coming on the show. And we'll see you at Explorer. Come by, look us up. We're at the community
2
booth.
months, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Bob, thanks. Dutton, thanks, Angle. Have a great rest of your day and go get some barbecue.